Good day. I'm Deborah Arneson. Welcome to the F Words, and we're here today to talk about vibrational medicine and energy healing. So we have a great show for you. Do not turn that dial, and I'm going to let all my co-hosts introduce themselves as well. Alex.
Hi, I'm Alexandra Marks, and I'm here today because I'm passionate about healing and education.
I'm Michelle Miller, and I'm here today because I want to help women to stay well and prevent illness.
I'm Katie Marquise, and I'm here for the true message of health for America.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Griggs, and I'm here because women really are in charge of the planet.
Thank God. Something has to change, don't you think?
Right.
Sooner rather than later. And then we have our wonderful guest, Mr. Kurt Hill, who has been a friend and associate of mine for not long enough. I'm sure other lifetimes for certain. And Kurt's here to share the message with us today about what energy and vibrational medicine is. Seems to be kind of a nouveau cliche term in some arenas, but it's been around forever, since dowsing in the Bible, right, Kurt?
Dowsing in the Bible is it. I'll tell you.
That's energy, right?
Enough of energy. I want to get around this passion to do it.
Yeah.
Goodness. This is incredible. Yes, it has. In fact, we talk about the Pythagorean theory, Pythagoras, and he was doing energy medicine even then, thousands of years ago, with tuning fork therapy, as we've talked about at other times. And it's finding the vibration in you that matches some vibration outside of you and getting a resonance, and what happens with that.
Well, so I have a question, honestly. Do you feel, because the vibration of our planet is shifting so quickly due to electromagnetic fields, EMFs are really dangerous and they're carcinogenic in some arena, or it's thought to be carcinogenic. People are sitting in front of computers all the time. We live by high wires. Everything underneath us is cabled. So are we dealing with like changing our own personal vibration? Do you think that's why people are getting wackier? Because I'm noticing a whole lot of more wacky going on. Are you guys?
Yeah.
Are you?
The planet's
People
going
are
crazy.
spinning out easier. Someone was
Right.
just telling me last night that they're noticing like so many accidents everywhere. Like people are getting
Yes.
whacked walking on the
Yes.
street, whacked walking on their bike. It's just craziness. And so that's all vibration, correct?
Well, yes, and well, indubitably, actually, the particulars are that we no longer have a 24-hour day, that our day is technically somewhere around 16 to 18 hours. Many
You mean our live day where we're constantly going, doing. Yes.
Yeah, well, actually, there have been airports that have changed landing times and the physics of how we land and what's going on because of that. We have sped up, so look out, quick karma. The other thing is that because
Well, you might need to go in to look out the quick karma stuff. Because now I'm like looking over my shoulder going, where's my quick karma? So meaning that things that you haven't fixed or resolved they'll come right and step in front
oh,
of
absolutely,
your face.
it's in your face.
So if you don't get
which
the
is
message
interesting.
sooner rather than later, it's going to keep coming up in your face.
That's right.
That's basically
It's like
it.
the old credit card, pay now, pay later, you're going to pay.
You're going
but
to
it's
pay.
moving a lot faster now, and
Right.
because we have energetic balance in our bodies as well as around us, the electromagnetic field with, of course, the geomagnetic field, there's this dance that's taking place. And right now, we're a little out of sync.
Kurt, my question is, can it be both physiologically and physically, emotionally,
Psychologically, yeah.
psychologically treated?
Yes, it actually can. There are two ways that energy medicine actually works. It works with the physiological and the psychological. It's very important to bring mind, body into a perspective.
How do
And
you
now-
separate them when you heal someone?
Well, actually, technically, you never really do. Descartes, in Cogito Ergo Sum, Sum Cogito Ergo, said that the mind and body are separate, but in actuality, they're not. We are unified. And if we start separating and dissecting, then that's what we get. We get pieces of who we are as a human. But in actuality, this synergy functions with a kind of energy, a force.
And medicine, as we know it, deals with segmented healing. It deals with like the liver
Absolutely.
or the brain, or
Absolutely.
the psychosoma is not included in that perspective.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like you go to a specialist and all they have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. That's my
Yes.
old saying. It's like you need to go to somebody who sees it all. Good old country doc who can go, are you drinking any water? And so you know what I'm saying? But that's energy medicine. It deals with the whole entity.
Yes, absolutely. It's a holistic approach to who you are, mind, body, and spirit.
Is that energy affected by what's going on in the universe or the atmosphere?
Good question. It can be, but you have a unique signature to your own energy. So therefore, once you find out what that core energy is and what that signal is, you are not as affected. We're always affected by our environment.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that there is a core energy. Each of us have a different vibration, like we have different fingerprints.
Okay.
And when someone who's working with energy medicine is dealing with you, they look at you to see, first of all, where the majority of your energy is housed in you, and also what vibratory sound or frequency your energy has, which distinguishes you from other people on the planet.
So in other words, can it be area specifically treated?
Yes, it can. Very good question. The interesting thing is that it can be area specific as far as the treatments are concerned. Example, like ratio, someone comes in with a liver problem or lungs or knee injury or arthritis, and you're specifically looking at the blockages in that particular area, and you can be incredibly specific with it.
How do you determine that, Kurt? How does that work where you can be so specific?
He scans you.
Yeah.
He does this thing where he goes like this. He looks up and down.
Well, actually, we send a private eye out ahead of time so I can look good. No.
Well, tell me about the first time I met you. I brought my boyfriend
yes,
at the time to
yes.
come see you because he needed some serious healing, and he was a lot of work. And I walked in there, and he like looked at him and said, "You got this, this, and this."
Yes.
And he looked at me and he goes, "You told him, didn't you?" I said, "I've never met the man before." And then he looked at me, he goes, "And you got this, this, and this." And he goes, "And your heart is closed." I said, "I worked really hard to close that heart." No, we want to open it. And I'm like, "No, you're not going to open it."
No one fitted in.
So he did. And it was just amazing. It was amazing. It was my, 15 years ago.
Good Lord, it
I
has
started
been
working
15
with
years.
you
That's
with
right.
vibrational medicine.
That's right. That's almost hard to believe. I got older, she got young. This is how energy works.
That's not true.
Exsanguination.
And when I came to
sucking
you,
his
I had
energy
nuts
out.
all over my back.
Yeah.
And he worked them all out. I had been in a very serious car accident, hit as a pedestrian, and he worked them all out, and I was so grateful to you.
Because Kurt uses like not only you do manipulation, but he does vibrational energy and manipulation. So, I mean, you get off that table, you're loopy. I mean, I'm loopy. I'm kind of like, whoa, what planet am I on? It's amazing, and you feel so
That is
fabulous.
amazing. That it's fascinating for me as well because I don't own the energy. It's really about you being the healer,
You're a
and it
conduit.
comes. I'm a conduit for it actually, and it's very humbling. But in actuality, as you look at how chi or breath flows through you, and you follow the patterns, you see where there are blockages in the human body. And if you follow those, you can see where the buildup of trauma has been, because we know that a trauma is an unfinished experience lodged somewhere in your body. So what I do is trace where that is through being able to observe your auric field, your energetic field. And I'm able
Wow.
to see that and see the colors that it presents.
Can someone work to keep their energy flowing and avoid blockages?
Yeah.
Yeah. On like a daily basis? Would that be yoga? Would that be regular
We
exercise?
can
Like
move
prevention.
to the Himalayas and just meditate and wear weight.
Right.
And breathe in the.
Do you recommend preventive approach?
You mean in dating? Well, actually, preventive medicine is something that is being bantered about with so many things. I suggest live your life and observe who you are. And you started off the show by saying you have passions, and that's fascinating. If you have a passion in something, your body's going to talk to you. See, there really is something called body speak. And you know when you're not flowing as well. I can tell you that 15 years ago, I was moving a lot better than I am now.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I was moving, I had a better flow, but as you age, as you change, there are different directions that you take your body in.
Well, I think that's a whole nother can of worms too. You work with energy, and you have to learn to move energy out that comes through you. Otherwise, you pick up all the garbage that you're getting from the people you're working on, right?
Well, that's true. You have to extirpate it, and there's a method of
I
that.
spray when certain people leave my office. I'm like lavender, I'm like vibration. You have to.
Yeah, you do.
Because some people are really powerfully needy, and I mean there are times people sit in front of me for counseling, and I feel like I have a psychic vampire sitting in my office just going. they're so desperate for energy.
So
And
how
you
does it
become more
work
sensitive
when
to
somebody
it.
comes to see you? Is it a series of treatments, or do you look at somebody and say, you only need 2 treatments, you need 4? And how does that?
That's a good question. Actually, it depends on the circumstance and what the illness is. And let's just take one for instance. Let's say if someone has a heart disease or heart problem, and I'm checking the rate of what's going on and what's happening in their body, because we deal with cause and effect. And not only cause and effect, but there's something else that is very, very important. What caused the caused? So it's almost like a creative syzygy, an alignment of events that took place. And what we're doing is we're examining what happened with all of that. And so I tell people I cannot change this in one setting, that it's a number of things that might take place. In many situations, I'll tell them they have to come back 6 times, 12 times. In some situations where there's spontaneous remission and immediate aspect with healing, it can happen in a one-shot deal, so to speak. But not all the time, because it didn't take one time for the illness to occur. What we're learning is a new way of existing and how to work with your body in its totality, its spirit and energy in its totality as it runs
Are
through.
there any
It's an
side effects
indicator.
from your treatments that people should be aware of? Or
Yeah, you'll feel better.
It's terrible.
Feel better, yes.
It's just awful.
Stronger energy.
You know, unlike medicine, unlike drug therapy, there
Right.
really are no side effects. But I can tell you that when energy is run at a certain level through your body, you feel like you have just taken some form of a tranquilizer of some kind, the relaxation aspect. There's, as Deborah said earlier, a loopiness that does occur. And I recommend for people to just relax for a few minutes, because what's happening is your body is reconnecting, it's finding its center and strengthening again. And the interesting thing is, see, you're programmed to be healthy. And when you're outside of that program, that's where there's pain
Stuff
and
shows up.
disconnect and the issues, absolutely. And it's literally trying to tell you, hello. You know, and
Okay, I'm ready.
together.
That's it, I'm ready. That's it.
Let's go. I need it.
What do you see the most of in your practice here in Chicago?
I see mostly, unfortunately, heart disease. I see a great deal of arteriosclerosis. I see a great deal of kidney disorders, how people store their anger. And
So what do those body parts indicate then? What's the psychosoma that goes with like heartaches?
well, heartaches or heart breaks.
Sadness.
You know, sadness. You know, we toy a great deal, and when we look at romantic comedies, if that's such a thing, catachresis on that. But it's the thing is that playing with the heart is not really funny, because it can do great damage. Breakups, when people come in and they say, well, I just had a breakup, and they're not even conscious of the fact that what that has done to the body, that is a shock to the system. When we're angry, especially if it's childhood anger, and we've carried it a long way,
Where does that go?
it goes right in the kidneys, I mean, right in the back, and it holds. If we're living with someone or engaged with in a bad environment, that too, is very toxic. That's in the liver, and also in the kidneys as well. And also, most women that come in, they have fifth chakra issues because they're invalidated constantly.
Where's the fifth chakra?
Fifth chakra is in the throat.
Okay.
And I know this because some of the hands that have been around mine. Get him out of my life. I go, okay, I'm working on it. I'm trying. Let go.
Well, and that's another question. When you work with vibrational medicine and energy healing and hands-on, literally, do people have a hard time letting go of their stuff? Because, you become identified, or you identify yourself with your disease, or your
Absolutely.
problem, or your heartache, or your pain. So you keep it, you hold it real close. How do you move that out of someone's, psychosoma, their energy field?
Deborah, that is
Especially if they're a non-believer
Yes.
and perhaps never being exposed to the energetic medicine field.
He makes them laugh and
That's
puts
a
down the
big-
armor.
Well, humor is a tool with that.
always.
But I also take the time to elucidate a little bit about what's about to happen and why it got there in the first place, and saying, there's a theory that we only understand what we know. So I start speaking in the language that they best understand and comparing that to are integrating what I know into what they know.
Sure.
And as a result, they get a better feel for it. And I go, okay, I'm not making any promises, but let's see what happens. And I want you to tell me if you feel a difference.
Right.
And not only is that difference going to occur then and there, but also in their lives the rest of the week. It's not just like something you take a spoonful of. It's something that alters who you are. Not changing your signature, that's very important, but helping you be more of who you are, finding what we call your I am.
Right. And you know, a great movie, Kurt, that I don't know if you saw it, but What the Bleep Do We Know?
Oh, yes.
It's adorable. And
Yes.
it's like, you know, it's all about biochemistry and like negative thinking and how you actually create the neuronal receptors in the brain to demand more of that chemical messenger to feed your negative neuronal receivers. You know, the same happens for positive, but it goes to show how people can really feed themselves, you know, this less than positive thinking, right? And create a completely different energy field. So it's all in the way you approach things. You know, if you smile when you walk down the street, people tend to smile back, right?
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely. Unless they're a
But
psychopath.
often.
Why are you smiling at me? Yeah.
I mean,
It's very
yeah.
interesting, but you project. Deborah's absolutely right. You know, attitude is excellence, and it's important, but it's very difficult when you're engaged with people in an environment that's negative. So it's very important to establish what your inner circle is and what your circle of energy actually is. You can be aware of some of the things that are outside of the domain that you're in. For instance, who's in your domain? Who carries the kind of energy that you carry? And what is that all about? And how do you make determinations?
That's why I love my girls.
Yes, right.
Just like it's sisters of the heart. It's great energy.
Yes.
You know, it's just great energy. It's wonderful.
Do you sometimes have to separate their energy from your energy? Is there-
Yes, yes, that's very important. In fact, that is a key to any person that does energy work. However, unlike allopathic medicine, we don't put people at bay. That's your problem, not mine. Because each person that comes in has an aspect of something that's going on in your world. Whether I'm in the positive and they're in the negative, but people who come to us are also those that are questions in our shadow, as Jung would put it. And what I always do, I make certain that I establish what is going on in their world as they're presenting it to me, and then I hold my center, because it's not about me, it's about them
We're
and
going
how
to
we
take
best
a
create.
quick commercial break if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Don't go away. We're going to talk about Kurt and how he came to be a vibrational healer. At Healing Quest Center, we are dedicated to giving you the power to heal yourself and live a life of abundant and vibrant health. Our healthcare professionals will help you reach your personal health goals with passionate caring. Healing Quest Center, your personal health quest begins here. Fries, Thighs, and Lies offers a frank, plain-spoken, and humorous approach to reconciling the myth information that makes health and beauty often incompatible. In this lively contemporary book aimed squarely at women, clinical nutritionist Deborah Arneson fixes her sights on fat and the lies surrounding it. Her stated purpose to put fun in nutrition makes the case, often humorously, that many of the dictums of dieting are just plain wrong. Coming to the bookstores in February '07. Welcome back. Here we go. Kurt. So,
How did you come to study energy medicine? How did you get into this field?
Reluctantly, believe it or not. Reluctantly. It's it was reluctantly, because at the time, oh my goodness, 25, 30 years ago, when people were talking about yoga, energy medicine, chakras, which are the energy aspects of the body, acupuncture, it was voodoo. People thought you were absolutely insane. And I'm thinking, I've got these impulses. I have the ability to pick up on people's thoughts and vibrations, and I didn't want to join a circus and be part of a freak show, if you will. So I said, so what do you do with this? And you know, whenever you ask the universe a question, it will answer. You know, I said, all right, just kidding. And it began to show me. So in the United States, there wasn't a whole lot of study about energy and vibrational medicine, but in China, Beijing had programs, and Kyoto had programs, and Stan Groff with holotropic breath work in Linzerheide, Switzerland, had programs, and in Germany, in Dusseldorf, there were programs on Wilhelm Reich's work on energy medicine and how to stimulate the piezoelectric stimulation inside of the body. Becker had started doing work on electromagnetic work for the electrical currents running through people. I was fascinated. And I said, oh my goodness, I'm beginning to understand who I am, and what it's about. And then I said, I'll never forget one day, looking up at the constellation of wonderful stars and contacting my ultimate concern and saying, what's the good of knowing this or having a gift in this if you can't teach it? Glad you asked.
So how do you recommend people that feel they might have something to contribute, as you did, how would you recommend that they go about studying or getting more involved or in touch with their own energetic intuitions? Or
That's a good question. First of all, there are to trust your instincts initially before you do anything else, and to change the relationship with your personal energy in the mirror. Standing in the mirror for about 3 minutes a day, looking at your own eyes and getting a feel for who and how you are, which stabilizes you, will tell you a great deal about what your soul gifts are and what your abilities are. The unfortunate truth a lot of times about vibrational medicine and an ability that could be considered extraordinary usually comes from some great trauma in our lives. And from what I last read, women have a great deal of trauma in their lives, just bringing the world up to par. I'm fascinated with.
That's part of our passion.
That's what we have to do.
It's, this wonderful book, The Alphabet versus the Goddess. The Schlein goes through the whole history of why that is. But we can alter and change that which is existing because it is not the real aspects. We can change story. As Jean Houston talks about, mythology rather than pathology. And so it's stepping out of the pathology and learning what your abilities are.
Well, and the segregation of that occurred when, Kurt, when they took women out of, the whole hierarchy of healing and being goddesses and or, Pharisees. That was like with the 14th century, wasn't it? Where
Well,
women
actually,
were
12th
just-
century.
12th,
12th
they were
century when
extracted
it-
from the
yeah,
church, and
yes,
segregation
absolutely.
became all about male energy, and the women were just kind of kicked to the curb, became witches if they did any of that after that. So
and hung.
they were.
Well, yeah,
they
there
were
was a book written at the
Sure.
time. Deborah's absolutely
there was
right.
a
The Malleus
huge
Maleficarum,
extinction.
which
Yeah.
was written, which really is responsible for the witch burnings in America. It started in Europe, and it was either two Benedictine monks, or I can't
Yeah.
remember exactly.
Yeah,
but
it was horrible.
fascinating. But I literally was incredibly saddened, studying that and reading that. And one of the things that I do in energy medicine is view both sides of my DNA, the feminine side and the masculine side. And there's some things that can be done in feminine that can't be done in masculine. There is a synergy. But it's a learning to work together on the planet and get a full understanding, a rich understanding of why we're here to begin with. And it's fascinating.
Don't go away. We'll be right back. You're going to hear about some things you've never even thought about.
As a woman going through perimenopause or menopause, it's important to find the right answers for your body. At Healing Quest Center, we take the confusion out of hormonal imbalances and natural hormone replacement therapy.
Here I am feeling like a brand new person.
My energy level's high, I sleep very soundly at night.
And I feel whole again.
For natural, safe, effective hormone therapy, call Healing Quest Center today.
Now, real quick, we only have a few moments left.
Only
So-
a few.
I know.
We could talk about this for hours.
My energy's up.
So the question is, do you see a lot of cancer? More and more cancer? And what is that about? Is it a combination of environmental toxins and shifted vibrations that are not succinct and in position, along with the psychosoma? Is it a compilation typically of all three in people? It is.
I'm kind of nodding my head because it's a wonderful question, and I'm going,
Well,
you
it's-
want me to answer it?
Really,
Yeah,
it's
no,
a really in-depth question.
It is an in-depth
We
question.
only have 2 minutes.
2 minutes
so
to answer an in-depth question. Okay, I'm going to do it fast.
I know you see, I refer people
Yes,
with
yes you do.
cancer
And
to
cancer is overwhelming right now.
It's
And
happening
it's
so fast. the spiral's
absolutely, and
so
I think
tight.
it's because of the chemicals in our foods, in our environment. I think that it's the anger. I think that we're living in a domination system full of deceit, and I think that it plays out in the body. Socrates got it right. We're the sum total of our experiences, and this is not a good experience in many situations. It's all about energy. Einstein, Tiller, it's not just me, and when that is manifested, it's manifested in some form of dysfunction. That dysfunction right now seems to be playing out as cancer.
So it means that there's a time in the history of mankind right now, and you and I talked about this a decade plus ago, where the vibration's picking up, and it's really important to get your psyche soma, your physical vibration, caught up to your psychological vibration, or you're going to see disease
Absolutely.
in your life.
Absolutely.
It comes up faster. So you need to keep elevating, meditating, moving up, and I mean, this is important for everyone to hear that, you have to find a peaceful place where you can
Yes.
take yourself, whether it's the company of a female friend or your children or your pets or whatever. I see, this is a dog city, right? So many people have dogs because I think it helps you calm your vibration.
Yes, it does.
Totally.
Calming the vibration and finding out where you are at peace with the self.
Yeah.
So that you can not reprogram, but identify what your program is
Tap into
essential.
it. Yeah,
Tap into it. Absolutely, it's essential. That's very good. That's the truth.
So yeah, there's a lot to do, right? So what do people do? What should people do? Name 3 things we should do every day to keep our vibration kind of semi-normal.
Balanced.
Yeah, semi-normal. Yeah, what is
that-
normal?
Yes.
Yeah, what is normal?
In the conscious universe, Radin writes, addresses those 3 questions. Number 1, he talks about telling the truth to the self. Because if you're living outside of your own consciousness and you're lying to yourself,
Not
then
being
you're
and being deceitful. Or
absolutely your vibration's off.
Denial.
Absolutely, it even changes the way your face looks because you're holding.
see that on
Yeah, you're
people.
holding a space that's not true. It's not true to you. It's not true to someone else. So you're literally not in your true vibration. The other thing is and this is paramount, to establish just how you recharge. If you don't know how you recharge, then you're operating off of.
Well, nobody's sleeping enough.
fumes.
How are they
Yes.
recharging?
That's right. Well, it's important to learn how you do that. And that's why many people, you talk about the drug culture. Many people use sex, drugs, rock and roll to recharge. Those are mundane.
Those were good times, though.
Maybe we need to go back to some of that.
What's the 3rd thing? We gotta wrap it up. What's the 3rd one?
The third thing is to have a passion. Have a passion. So it was very, very wonderful to hear your panel and yourself talk about my passion is, because that wakes something up and there's a burst of dynamic
We're
energy.
passionate about you.
Oh,
You are the
wonderful.
best. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's
You're
my pleasure.
doing a
Thank you
wonderful
so
job.
much.
Thank you so much.
Ladies, thank you again. And this is Deborah Arneson with the F Words, and we're here to bring you information, wisdom, and healing. So until next week, take good care of yourself and your family. Mwah.